Hi everyone, I'm Elizabeth Cantey, and this is another episode of Living Enlightened Every Day. Yep, we're going to live enlightened every single day. Tune in here to find out how. Today we are talking about that mental noise that so many of us seem to struggle with. It's that constant mental activity that seems to run our everyday lives. We've talked about this a lot, and I am getting a lot of information from you guys about just wanting to know more about that separation. How do we separate ourselves from all the mental noise? So when we think of it as this idea that we are not our body, we're not our mind, we're not our thoughts. We've talked about this a few times in the last few episodes, but we're going to go right to mind today, right to thoughts. We are not our thoughts. And what does that mean? It means as the thoughts arrive or arise, they come up out of seemingly nowhere. And it can be a thought about something we need to do later, about something that's happening now, about something that happened last week. It can seem random, like just some random memory springs up and we go off into thinking about that memory or thinking about that problem or whatever it is, whatever that thought is. And as I've talked about becoming the observer, it gives us space. There's a sense of separation from the thoughts that are coming and going and the thoughts that are chasing the thoughts that are coming and going, and the one who is thinking them, right? So we have the one who the thoughts arise up, the one who is aware of the thoughts, and then we have all the thoughts. Sometimes they're spinning, sometimes they're wonderful and pleasant, sometimes they seem innocuous. As I've said before, they seem they're not harmful if I'm thinking wonderful things about how beautiful the sky is or the weather is, or how this time last year was so much colder and it's so warm right now. I mean, these things we think that would be okay, or they're sort of positive, if we're going to use that word, positive thoughts. They're not harmful or judging, but it is a subtle form of judgment. What our thoughts do is when they constantly come in and they want to assess the situation, the thoughts, it's really the ego, the group of thoughts that senses itself as separate. That's what the ego is. It's just a group of thoughts, of beliefs, which are thinking the same thought over and over again, thinking that we are separate from our source, separate from our good, separate from enlightenment or living enlightened, separate from peace, freedom, joy that is always available to us. So if there is something in the way of our peace, our joy, that sense of freedom, love, that unconditional love, then we know that's not our natural state of being. So that's kind of why I talk a lot about the mind or the mental noise and the idea of becoming the observer, recognizing that we are not the thoughts that arise. We can watch them or see them as they arise. And believe it or not, as we start to practice this, the not only do we are able to stop chasing those thoughts, just going on with another thought and another one into a full-blown memory of what happened to me when I was 12, and tears or shaking or fear or even joy, even those things that we think are good memories. It's keeping me from being right here, right now, in the present joy, in my present good that is available to me. So we become the observer, we become that spacious awareness that can see the thoughts as they arise, and we can let them go. And what we realize is as we become pretty adept at this, they are less and less just on their own by observing. Observing is non-judgmental. The observer cannot say that's a terrible thought. That's a stupid thought. The observer never says, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good thought. So if you think the observer is saying, that's a good one, let's think on that one a little while, or let's hold on to that thought. That's not the observer, that's the ego that wants things to be good or bad, right or wrong. Again, it's that sense of separation. And sometimes, as has been pointed out, it gets very, very subtle, because sometimes we use some of the languaging in modern day law of attraction and modern day power of positive thinking, that good thoughts are what we should be thinking, and powerful thoughts and empowerment, things like that. But the observer, the consciousness that we are, the awareness that we are, the presence that we are, is neither good nor bad. It is beyond that. I think it was Rumi who said, Hafiz, I'm not sure, but one of the Sufis said, in beyond the field of right and wrong, beyond right and wrong, there is a field. I'll meet you there. Something I'm paraphrasing, not very well, but it just means beyond right and wrong, beyond our mental concepts, there is peace, presence, awareness, joy. Not joy because something good happened, not peace because it's quiet, but our natural state of being with whatever is happening. So that's that idea of the mental noise. And I go back to, I just love this, that episode on the ultimate law of attraction. And I think it was Matthew, I forgot the verse numbers, is, take no thought for what you shall eat or wear or how you will be in the world, your shelter. And as I mentioned in that episode, what we wear isn't just the clothes. It's all the things that we put on ourselves, the job, the career, the family, the relationships, the actual body, the food, and the clothes. And take no thought is that idea of not mentally conceptualizing how things will be, could be, should be, won't be. Those are all those judgments, attachments, resistance, reactions. I talk a lot about that. It's the jar, staying out of the jar. So taking no thought. And what I've been explaining this week is that that doesn't mean we never think, but there it's in presence, in awareness, in that spaciousness where thoughts come and go. Let's say you hear a baby cry and you're a young mom. There's there's an alertness, there's an awakeness, there's a thought, is that my baby? If you're home alone, it's going to be your baby. But let's just say you're out and about and it's like you're at a friend's house. Which child is crying? What kind of cry is that? Hunger, pain, fear, it's that alertness that allows us to discern what is happening in that moment. And in that awareness, we don't have to think, oh my God, this and this is happening. This could be happening. That could be happening. Remember last week when that happened? I have to do this. I should have done this. You haven't even moved yet. These are the thoughts that are going through your mind. Your blood pressure is rising. Your body is tense. Your muscles are tense. The cortisol is pumping through, right? Because those are the thoughts that come from the idea of being separated from our good. But what we can do as the awareness, the sound comes, the awareness of what that could mean comes, and we are guided and directed to spiritually discern what that is. Is that my child? Is that a cry for attention? Or help? Are they laughing hysterically? What, we discern. And in that moment, we are guided to move. Maybe it's to not move, but we are guided and directed perfectly without the mental noise. So maybe now you can kind of see how important this is in our well-being, not just enlightenment. That's what I talk about. It's like, why live enlightened? Because in enlightenment, we are in joy and peace and just present to what is and happy. There's no other reason to live enlightened than just being peaceful and joyful and happy. That's our nature. That's our natural state of being. And so I take this example that just came to me, and if we're let's say the baby's crying in the middle of the night and we're awakened and we hear that sound, we're again aware, we're present to the sound, and we're discerning, spiritually discerning. Is that call, that child having a nightmare? Does it need to be comforted? Will it just go right back to sleep? That I remember teaching my son to self-soothe, to recognize he is perfect right where he is and he can go back to sleep in 20 seconds. He's a great sleeper now. So am I. And it's just that idea of we are moved to do exactly what we need to do in all of those moments. These are some light moments I'm talking about, but we can pick the heavy moments. I've had a lot of those too, and felt like I was always, always, always guided and directed perfectly when I am coming from that space of being the observer rather than fear. What is that? What's going to happen if? What if this is like last week or last year or last, 5 years ago? What if we get lost in the past or we worry about the future? And again, going back to the quote from Matthew, anxiety will do nothing, nothing for us. Spiritual discernment, being alert, awake, and aware to the present moment, what is happening, is everything. It doesn't add to ourselves, it is ourselves. But anxiety cannot add one cubit, one measure, 1 inch to our lives. And science corroborates now, it takes away from our life. It takes away from our body's resting state or ability to release tension. It adds tension. It adds that what is it when we're constantly in that state of just slight tension and we don't even recognize it? It's the mental noise. And so it's not that we have to constantly monitor our thoughts. That would be difficult. And I know because I've tried. I'm just going to tell you right now, I've tried. I've tried a few different ways, a few different times, and that's exhausting, right? What is what is easy and again in alignment with our natural state of being is breathing and being still right where they are. And I don't mean not right where we are, not still as in my body can't move, like I have to lay on the floor, sit in a chair, sit in lotus position. It isn't that, although I like that too. It's being our mind being still, becoming the observer, watching the thoughts arise. That's the stillness. So we can do that mowing the lawn. You know, we can do that feeding the dogs. We can do that during a terrible storm. We can be the alert observer, discerning. That was a branch that just hit the roof of my house. Is it big enough to for me to go out in that storm and look, and I'm spiritually aware. From that space, the all-knowing, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent Spirit of God is right where I am, moving, guiding, breathing me. And I will know exactly what I need to do. Probably not go out in the storm. But it's being guided and directed so it feels good. Whatever we are guided to do feels good. So we're not running around like last week talking about losing your mind. Like lose your mind, free your spirit. Free that spirit within to do what it is always meant to do. It is always meant to live this life as us. We aren't meant to the small separate self, the ego that looks like this little body and this frail, relatively frail piece of whatever I am, human animal. I'm not meant to do it all. I'm not meant to make it all happen. So we take no thought. We allow the mental noise to be what it is, to dissipate, and we just rest in awareness. We rest in presence and the spiritual discernment, discerning, which I guess another word for that easily is noticing. We notice what is, we don't judge it. We don't attach to it. Oh, well, that's what's happening. I got to have that. I got to do that. I got to make it happen more. We're noticing. And in noticing, again, there's a guidance to do or be or not do. There's something always for us in it. It's just spiritually discerning. If we're in a place, a storm kicks up and there's wires or trees or branches are falling, we discern, we notice, does this feel safe? We can even ask the question, allowing that present spirit as us to guide and direct us to exactly what we need to do. And once we've done this, it's addictive. I don't know if I should use that word in this context, but it is, because that's our natural state of being. It's like this. This is how it's always meant to feel, that I'm in a flow. And it doesn't mean that things are flowing gently all around me. There are boulders, there are waterfalls, there are things in the way. But being water or air, we can have all these analogies. Being water or air, we move around them. We don't just smash up against them. So allowing for that subtle distinction in becoming the observer of our thoughts, knowing that we are not our thoughts. We are not the finite mind. And also remembering that our mind is a beautiful thing. As I said, the thoughts that come are um, as we're noticing, are informing us, spirit, mind, and body. And so that we really enjoy being in the body, right? We enjoy our mind. Our mind isn't using us to, run amok, to go a million miles an hour. It's us enjoying the mind, the wisdom, or the sense of communing, the sense of communicating. We find that we can communicate with nature, with dogs, with animals, with neighbors, with people from other tribes, right? We find that we're at home wherever we go because we are in that state of awareness, noticing. And when we are that awareness, when we are non-judging, non-attached, non-resistant, non-reactive, what is flowing into our lives, even if it is judging, reactive, all those things, we that cannot even move us off our center. So again, we're noticing, and we're free from reaction. We're free from the mind spinning. We're free from our past stories. The story we always tell about how this person hurt me and betrayed me and left me and ruined me and took all my money, and the Ponzi scheme, or the bad work environment. We have the stories, and again, they seem like they're so deep. There's such a part of us. They're a part of why maybe our body aches, our knee went out, our shoulder tore, whatever that is. And we have these stories, but as the observer, now it doesn't change the fact that group of facts happened, but that we're not attached to the spinning of the story. It's like it just moves away from us. And we remember, oh, I am not a hurt shoulder. I am 99% flexible and movable here. What? That's beautiful. I am beautifully in motion right here. So the story changes. And I talk about that in my book. It's like, what's your story? The story changes. So now the story isn't, 1% blown out shoulder, or hip or hip replacement, whatever that is. It's all the things that work. It's a miracle. All the things that work, have worked, will work, continue to work in this present moment. The sense of being aware is right here, right now. It's working always. There's nothing we can do to lessen the ability of being present, being one with. So, yes, living enlightened is really living in joy and peace in our natural state of being present and aware, and then being that observer. It's that the ability to just watch with love, compassion, non-judgment, all the things that are happening. And I kind of want to go back. I think I missed a little point about the little innocuous things that we think. It seems like, why should that be a problem? But, and I won't say it's a problem, but it isn't our natural state. Our natural state isn't to have that commentary on everything that's going on. Our natural state is being one with everything that's going on. And as we are one with, there's no need to commentate. Is that a word? There's no need to comment on, right? We don't have to say the sky is blue. We're there. It is. We are, right? There's no reason to have the running commentary. So it's that practice of being the observer and being allows us to commune, and that sense of infinite connectivity to all that there is, that expansive feeling of love for everything and everyone, recognizing this presence is all that there is all the time. So I hope that helps some of the concepts that we've been bringing up every week, and maybe takes you just that step deeper, that step into becoming the observer. Recognizing that spaciousness between the mental activity, the mental noise, and spiritual. I shouldn't call it spiritual. It's just awareness. It's not spiritual. It's not spiritual. It's just who and what we are, our natural state of being, present, aware in this moment, connected to everything. So here we are in this wonderful, amazing space, in our body fully, in our mind, meaning the mind thinks. It's kind of its job. That's what it does. That's what it's supposed to do. It translates vibration into this thought. And as we observe the thought, we're guided and directed. It's such a beautiful ease. And yet, understanding that no one really taught us this, we're all kind of learning it as we go. And we sometimes don't trust it. And that's why it helps to have a coach, a friend, a group of like minds that come together and say, yes, I've been working on this. I've been trying this. I've been sensing this. I've been practicing this in my meditations. How does that feel to you? You know, Buddha said, never believe anything that I say. And he said, don't believe everything you think. Please don't believe everything that you think, because we've already realized we are not our thoughts. He said, but bring it to your Sangha, bring it to your satsang, bring it to your community, and share these ideas with like minds, and realize that where two or more are gathered, there I am. And as we uplift any one of us, all of us are lifted up. As one of us has an insight or a revelation or a moment of that beautiful integrating spirit, mind, and body, that integration, and we are just, this is my natural state of being. Hey, everyone, this is it. Join me. Here's my hand. I'll take you there. And we share it. That's why we do this, right? And that's why we listen to podcasts and read books and talk amongst ourselves, our like-minded friends. And friends who are not, and family who are not like-minded, guess what? We're the observer. We're standing in our peace and our joy and our love, not judging, full of compassion and love and understanding, and just being with what is in this moment. True enlightenment for me is being right where we are, doing exactly what we are doing, being with whoever we are with, and fully integrating spirit, mind, and body. We are present, aware, alive. And that's it. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit like, hit subscribe, and just share it with a friend if you think they might want to know how to really detach, a little separation from the mental noise. I'm Elizabeth Cantey. You can find out more about this and other principles on my website, elizabethcantey.com. These principles and more are also in my book, Living Enlightened, The Joy of Integrating Spirit, Mind, and Body, which is available on Amazon now. Thank you for listening. I just know for you, your natural, true state of being is laughing, loving, and living enlightened every day.
Thanks for watching. Join us again next Tuesday at 7 a.m. Mountain Time for Living Enlightened with Elizabeth Cantey. Integrating your spirit, mind, and body. Learn more at www.ntmedia.org.